How do you sell someone something that doesn't exist? Today, you can go online and you can go shopping, and sometimes you encounter those websites that offer you something. You order it, you pay with your credit card or debit card or with PayPal or Bitcoin or whatever. So you pay for it, but it's never delivered. And after 2 weeks, you begin to think, hold on a minute, it doesn't add up. You call the cops. I don't recommend that directly, but okay. You call the cops, and the cops tell you this is a scam website. They don't have those products. Now here's the thing. The website is real. Your purchase is real because you paid for it. You got a confirmation of your order, which is real. But the delivery will never happen because that website is just that, a website. Normally a web shop represents a real undertaking, but in this case, the undertaking does not exist. So because the undertaking does not exist, the website is a deception. So when you order it, your order can never be fully processed because there is no real undertaking. In this case, what they are offering you does exist somewhere, but not with them. Okay? So that happens often. At least it's something that actually exists, but they don't have it, they just pretend they have. But what if you want to sell someone something that doesn't actually exist? Well, you can be creative with Photoshop as a scam artist, and you can even Photoshop a whole real estate website that shows people beautiful houses. But when people want to visit one of those houses, they can't because houses don't exist. Well, today you have Google Maps, you have Bing Maps, you have Naver Maps in Korea. So today it's quite difficult to do that because people can use Google Maps and find out that you're filled with BS. So to fake the existence of a product is quite difficult. But what if I tell you that on a daily basis, people are sold things that don't exist and people fall for it 99% of the time? Even highly intelligent and clever people, even the no-nonsense people who are quite direct, even the people who are allergic to nonsense, even they fall for it every day. How is it possible? It's actually quite easy. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, nor do you need to have a PhD in psychology to understand this. It's very simple. I'm going to give you the formula that Satan uses on the masses. The demons use it, and the world leaders behind the scenes use it. Those mega corporations use it, those mega churches use it. It's a very simple formula. 1. Find something that exists that people are upset about. The first step, find something that actually exists, whether it's a situation, whether, for example, crime in a community, or a lot of people who are not married, or whatever it is, or that the prices are high in the supermarket. Find something that actually exists that people are upset about. Secondly, validate how upset people are about it. The second thing, validate how upset they are about it. And when you validate how upset people are about it, mention facts that hint that something needs to change. For example, if there is a lot of trash on the streets in a city, highlight there's a lot of trash on the streets, highlight also that's bad for people's health, highlight that this brings down the reputation of the city, that because that people going to lose customers. So mention all the facts associated with the thing people are upset about, in such a way that people feel more validated because you even back up your position with evidence. So now people both feel validated and they feel confirmed because you back it up with evidence. So then people feel relieved, think, you know what, you see, I'm correct. Something needs to be done with all the trash in this city, for example. Thirdly, you suggest a new direction that's supposed to be better for the people. So let's say there's a lot of trash on the streets. you highlight to the people, listen, there's a lot of trash on the streets around here. It's very dirty, it's disgusting, it makes people sick, literally. People get infections because of it. You have a lot of street animals roaming around. You have a lot of flies, level birds that poo around because of it. Businesses lose money because customers don't like to come around here because it's quite dirty. This also brings down reputation for our city. So this can't continue. When you say that people are going to shout amen, you're telling the truth. Then you just answer them, you know what? Maybe we can enforce a type of trash tax of a few dollars. Because people need to contribute to the city. I'm not saying that everyone needs to go out there out of the blue, suddenly pick up all the trash. No, there must be some organization that does it for us. That will be better, but the organization needs to be financed, which is a fact. So people agree with you, saying indeed that's true. So let's everyone pay a small tax just to finance this. And people will agree with you. First of all, what you address is a real situation that's upsetting. Okay, so you address it, you back it up with facts that can be checked, and you offer a solution that's factual. Oh, but then people say, but Rashid, where's the scam? Where's the con? Let me explain. Okay, you mentioned that the city has a lot of trash. You mentioned the facts of how this is a bad situation. You mentioned it has to be changed. People agree with that, and you offered a solution that's practical. Let the organization do it. We just finance the organization, and people are okay with that because people think, okay, all of us work from 9 to 5, so for us to also have to pick up trash all over the place, that's not good. So people agree, okay, we need to have this organization does it. So people began to gather money to come in such an organization. Okay? So all things are working out. So people say, Rashid, that's realistic. No, hold on. Why is there so much trash on the streets to begin with? And first of all, trash is leftovers that you don't use. So that means if there's a lot of trash on the streets, a lot of consumption goes on. If there isn't a lot of consumption, you're going to have a lot of trash on the streets. People need to be buying a lot of stuff, or people need to be eating a lot and throw things away on the streets for there to be a lot of trash on the streets. There must be a lack of trash cans, okay? But even if there aren't many trash cans or bins around, if people are not consuming that much, there wouldn't be even a need for to have a lot of bins around because, hey, if there is a lot of consumption, there's less consumption, less trash, less need for bins. So whether there are a lot of bins around or not does not matter. It depends on the amount of consumption. So the question should be, why is there so much trash on the streets? Oh, it's leftovers from what people buy. Oh, so people are consuming a lot. For them to consume a lot means that people have money. Oh, so people have money. Okay, so people have money to enrich wealth. But the wealth being wasted, and that produces pollution. So that means that collectively, people are wasting their wealth. So that's what's going on. So wasting the wealth is what causes the pollution on the streets. So the pollution on the streets is a result of wasting the wealth. And why are people wasting the wealth? It is because they seek relief. They don't want to deal with issues in daily life. They don't want to face themselves. So now you have the root of the issue. The root of the issue is people are fleeing. And one of the ways they flee is by overconsumption. So overconsumption automatically leads to a lot of trash and a lot of rubbish that ends up in the streets. And what does end up in the streets is because people have this narcissistic and selfish attitude that they are just fleeing. They're fleeing so they only are concerned about their relief. So the narcissistic tendency in the community is why people are fleeing, and that fleeing leads to overconsumption, and the fruit of overconsumption is trash on the streets. And the fact that people are complaining about trash on the streets, but nobody wants to even look into why it's happening, that speaks volumes of the narcissistic tendency of the community. So now you really address what's going on. It's a narcissistic tendency of fleeing that works out in the symptom of having trash all over the place, which eventually harms the health of the population and harms the economy. So the community is self-destructive. Point that out. So now people know exactly what's going on, and now realize we need to look inside. We need to really face ourselves. But worldlings don't want to face themselves. They just want to be left alone. So, when you understand this about worldlings, so they just want to be left alone, and they don't want to participate in solutions, and you realize that if worldlings can't escape, that means if they can't flee, that they'll escalate, so they'll explode with violence, you now realize, okay, there's a lot of trash in the streets around here, people are upset about it, but nobody wants to really do something constructively about it, so sooner or later, people are going to explode because of the situation, they're going to dump here and there. So you know that violence is about to escalate in the community, and you know that nobody wants violence to escalate. And you also know that nobody wants to continue to the situation to continue, that there's trash on the streets. So there is a real upsetting situation here, but you didn't address the whole situation so people know exactly what's going on. You only addressed the fruit, and you offered something to combat the fruit that people hate. So that is the scam right over there. That is the con. You trick people into a solution that will not be long-term, that will not have a long-term benefit for them. And you also con people into taking a position that really will not benefit them. So you both trick them into paying for something, that's a scam, and you trick them into a position, you trick them into agreeing with something that will not be beneficial to them in the long run. Okay, so that's the scam and that's the con. So in this case, you've sold the people a better future that will never happen. And in this case, because the scam and the con depend on investment of the people, it's the people themselves manifesting the hoax. If you go to a web shop to purchase something and it doesn't come, people can sue you because indeed you didn't deliver. If you sell houses that aren't there, they can catch you. If you sell someone a vacuum cleaner and the vacuum cleaner was broken, you sold someone a broken vacuum cleaner, they can sue you. Okay? But if you suggest a better future to someone and you ask them to invest in this future, let's say they want this future and they invest in it, then they voluntarily comply with what you suggested. But what if what you suggested is not going to be it's not going to work out well? If later people become upset because you suggested something that actually turned into a disaster, you are to blame, of course, because you suggested it. You're responsible for even suggesting that thing to begin with. And you're responsible for not pointing out the bigger picture. So you are to blame. And you are to be dealt with, absolutely. But you can now say, well, hold on a minute, people. Yes, I suggested that we should have an organization that takes care of all the trash and we have to pay some taxes for it. But I never told you that it's going to be easy. I never told you to gather money, hand it over to some government institution, and just sit on your behind and not check this institution. Okay, we should have an organization to deal with the trash, that's right, but I never told you how high the tax has to be, and I never told you that this organization should have the right to kick you out of your home if you don't pay them. So now you come with all types of nonsensical excuses. The excuses are nonsensical because you are to blame for suggesting it, but you can now point out that it's the people themselves that invested in the bad outcome. And you're right. Even though you are to blame, even though you are wrong, you are, you are correct. Forgive me. You're not right, but you are correct. You are correct in pointing out that it's the people that invested in it. And here's the thing. If the people would ask constructive questions, they wouldn't have fallen for it. So let's say you come with this suggestion. People ask, well, okay, we need an organization to deal with all the trash in the city. Okay, so we have to pay for it with a few euros every month. Okay. Who's going to check this organization? Who's going to start this organization? Because whoever's going to lead this organization will gain some type of power over us in this city. So who should it be? What's their agenda? And here's the thing, okay, so we have a lot of trash around here, but isn't it better to prevent a lot of trash from coming on the streets? So if people would have asked constructive questions about the situation, would realize very quickly this is a hoax. But that's the thing with worldlings. They seldom do this. Rarely will you encounter an individual in the world that does this. Look at the bigger picture, asking constructive questions. When people are upset by something, they have social pain and they just want the pain to go. Either they want a victim to take out their anger upon, so they are at ease, or they want some quick fix that doesn't require much of them. That's what worldlings want. Either a victim to dump upon, so that they get relief, so that they are at ease. That becomes their drug, so you have to keep on supplying victims for them to dump upon. Either that, or they want some quick fix from promised by some politician, some religious leader, that doesn't require any sacrifices or any self-reflection on their part. So worldlings don't want to self-reflect. They just want relief, either by dumping or by some quick fix that's presented to them. So when something is suggested onto them over and over again, they should think, okay, if I agree with this, what are the consequences for me? Or how will it affect other people? Because whatever I do will also affect other people. If a worldling refuses over and over again, so I'm not saying it's a one-time thing, if they over and over again, if they have a pattern of refusing to ask constructive questions, then they are partly to blame for the scam that's been used on them. That they've been scammed, that they've been conned, that's not their fault. But they do carry some of the blame because they don't want to face the reality of the situation. That is how you're able to sell something to someone that doesn't exist. And you can get away with it most of the time if you put all the focus on the people that are duped. That's how professional scam artists do it. They scam you and con you, and they know that once they're caught that they are in trouble, but they want to bail themselves out of the trouble of scamming or conning you, so they bring the con or the scam or they bring the hoax in such a way that requires your investment, and the moment you invest, they can use investment against you. That's what Satan uses on the masses. That's what the shadow government or the Illuminati or the Jesuits, or however you want to call them, are using on the masses also. And that's one of the rules in black magic. In black magic, when you're taking advantage of someone, you have to show them in some symbolic way that something doesn't add up with what you're doing. Because the moment you show voluntarily by yourself that something doesn't add up with what you're doing, their inner radar will pick this up. And their inner radar automatically will make them uncomfortable. And when they feel uncomfortable, it's their responsibility to ask, why am I uncomfortable? And then when they realize that they became uncomfortable after what you said or what you showed them, they begin to ask, why did you show that to me? Or why did you say that? At the moment they ask constructive questions, they will realize very quickly that something's off about you. In that case, you let them go. You don't proceed. That's a rule in black magic. You don't proceed when people begin to ask many constructive questions. When people ask a question one time and later don't do it, it's different. When people keep on asking constructive questions, you just walk away from whatever you intended to do. Whether it's sexually exploiting someone, or whether it's financially draining someone, or whether it was tricking people into a political movement or whatever. Whatever it was that you intended to do, when you're using black magic, it's a rule that you hint to your victim that something is off about what you're doing or what you're intending. When the victim begins to ask constructive questions, continuously, you let it go. Why? Because if you continue afterwards, the whole blame will be on you that's scamming or conning them. And, rightfully so, this will backfire on you. But the moment you are about to do something, and you hint that it doesn't add up, and the individual thinks, whatever, I don't care, or the individual excuses the warning signal you hinted to them, then they have become participants of what you're doing. Does that mean that you're excused for what you intend to do? No, you're not to be excused. You are to blame. And when things backfire, people should rightfully deal with you. You know that. But now you have a leverage over the victim. You can point out the inconsistencies of the victim to put attention away from you. And when the environment focuses on the inconsistencies of the victim, they forget about you and you can get away. So that's a rule in black magic. In witchcraft, they also use it, but it's more a black magic thing. Witchcraft is feminine, black magic is masculine. In black magic, they tell you, hint that what you're about to do doesn't add up. When the victim shows signs of concern repeatedly, you back off. If they show signs of concern once, but they brush it off, or they show no signs of concern at all, you can continue, because now you can use their compliance as a leverage against them. Let me give an example of how this goes out there. Let's say you have a predatory narcissist who wants to hide his involvement in child trafficking. He wants to present himself as a family man. But in order to present himself as a family man, he needs to be married. He needs to have a wife, and he needs to have children. So this guy, let's say he's 22, he sees you, and let's say he sees that you are a very soft-spoken, kind woman. You also look good. You have a beautiful figure. So you're the type of woman that he considers excellent for him. He can both exploit you sexually, and he can use you to deter negative attention away from him. So he approaches you. He presents himself as a successful businessman. He gives you a business card. He even redirects you to a website he paid people to make for him. So you get an impression, oh, this is a successful businessman I met. And because he used those charming words on you, you feel very warm and validated, and you develop feelings for him. Okay? But on his website, he uses this weird symbol. And you ask him, what's this weird symbol you're using? Oh, it's just something for good luck. He just makes up some BS explanation. What you should do then is go to Google Maps or to some other search engine, look for that symbol and see what it really means. If you do that, you would see that it's some black magic symbol related to some demonic principality, and you realize, hold on a minute, what am I dealing with here? And then you lower contact with the guy, or you ask him about it, and when you begin to ask him about the symbol related to demonic principality, when he knows that you've done your research and all of that, he will think, you know what, let me let this scam go. I need to find another victim to use. Then you're safe. Okay? But if the individual uses black magic, and you see that weird symbol, but you think, oh, I don't care, I feel charming around this guy makes you feel, get you focused on your feelings instead of focused on the facts, now you are complicit in what he's doing. What he wants to do is to have a cover. Now, you're not aware that he wants to use you as a cover, but you don't have to be aware of what he's doing. The fact alone that you notice this inconsistency, that you really can't justify, but you decided to ignore it, you ignore this red flag, makes you a participant of what he is doing. So now that he notices that you haven't paid attention to the first warning signal, he will give you a second one. He may tell you that, well, when I'm done, I'm done. And I'm very open with it when I'm done. When I'm done with someone, I'm just done. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. What he was saying is that he's actually narcissistic. When he doesn't want to do something, just doesn't do it. He doesn't consider others, nor his own contribution. When he's done, he's done. So actually what he is saying to you is, the moment he's done with you, he's done with you. So he hinted to you that he's actually not trustworthy. But if you decide to interpret this as he's a man of his words, okay, if he's a man of his words, check what he said. What he said is a bit disturbing. Because what's the context? Why is he saying that to you? When he's done and all of that. You may say, but he wants to be open and honest towards me. To build a relationship. Okay, but what's the context of him saying that when he's done, and all of that? Why does he have to emphasize that he means what he says, and he says what he means? His behavior, his character should show that. You shouldn't have to mention it. Let's say you continue with him. Now, when you go to the courthouse and get your marriage license and you marry the guy, and that you enter a wedlock, and you have 2 children with him, now, when he is cheating on you, now, when he suddenly leaves you behind, you are now in big trouble. But why? Because he has been laundering money of child trafficking all along. And you are his wife, you've been married with him for like 5 or 8 years. And now, the police is suspecting you of involvement in the child trafficking. Because the police will tell you, how can you be with a man like that and you haven't examined his background? If you met him and told you he was a successful businessman, why didn't you do more background research on him? Just look at his website and look so great and was so charmed by him and you just believed him? We checked this website and we could see many inconsistencies on it. So now, even before the court of law, even before the pagan courthouses, you are a culprit. Because you didn't look into him better, you end up enabling his scam, and a lot of children were harmed by it. So now the pagan courthouse has a legitimate reason to sue you and to lock you up for endangering the community. So yes, you were scammed, yes, you were conned, you were victimized, but you participated in your own victimization, and by doing that you enabled danger both on yourself and others. So that is the rule in black magic, or you can say the rule of black magic. And that is why I'm telling you all, do not ever just get along with what's suggested or shown to you. Look at the context. Ask constructive questions. You hear me? Constructive questions. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.